Hello students. Today what we'll do is we will try and understand the experiments on a hardness, that is a hardness test. And basically there are different types of hardness tests like Rockwell hardness, Grinnell hardness, Vickers hardness and so on. We will be mainly conducting the Rockwell hardness test and the Grinnell hardness test. Now before we actually go into the process of conducting the experiment, we need to understand what is the meaning of hardness. Hardness is basically a surface property, and we say that hardness is resistance to indentation. That is, for example, if I take wood and if I take any metal and if I take a sharp object and if I try to make a mark, we know that easily we can make a mark on wood, while on metals it is slightly difficult to make. So the resistance to indentation will be termed as hardness. That is, it does not undergo plastic deformation on the surface quite easily. So that is the basic definition of hardness. Now there are two types of tests. Whenever we want to compare the hardness of two materials, then the same test has to be conducted on both the materials, and looking at the values obtained, we can conclude which one is harder. So first we will talk about the Rockwell hardness test. Now in Rockwell hardness test, normally here what we do is we conduct the test on 5 different specimens, namely brass, aluminium, copper, mild steel and cast iron. Now since the materials themselves are different and we are talking about applying a load and making an indentation, the type of the indenter will also change. For example, here you can see that there are different types of indenters. Normally they are specified as 1/8 inch, 1/16 inch and a diamond indenter. So here you can see those values have been converted into millimeters and they have been written. So these two represent 1/8 inch and these two represent 1/16 of an inch. And for cast iron being a very tough material, hard material, we are going to use a diamond indenter, because if you use any of the other type of steel ball indenter, the indenter itself may get damaged. Similarly, once we go to the machine, I will show you there is a load which is to be applied. Only then it is going to create a mark on the specimen. Similarly, which dial has to be read? I will show you what is a dial on the machine and which dial has to be read. So we have already done the experiments on various materials, and we have found out the average values of the Rockwell hardness number. Looking at this, what we can actually conclude is as the Rockwell hardness number increases, the hardness of the material also increases. So you can see that the Rockwell hardness number of cast iron is 113, while that of brass is only 24.33, the average value. So cast iron is much harder than brass. So we have different values like 24.33, 91, then 85, which is copper. Since brass is an alloy of copper, it has got a lesser value, and copper has 85, aluminum has 91. Mild steel obviously is slightly harder, hence it has a value of 100 and 113. So this is the calculation which you are going to write in your journal also. And once we conduct let's say experiment, what we need to do is as far as possible, initially we need to take the specimen such that the surface is smooth, because we'll have to do the same experiment or the same loading at 3 different points and get different values and then get the average. The reason is, again, the surface may not be homogeneous. So after conducting the experiment for a large number of times, we will see that the entire surface, for example here, you will see there are so many indentations here. Okay, so this won't serve the purpose. So what we generally do is we take it to a lathe and do the facing operation and remove a very thin layer and create a fresh surface, and then we can conduct the experiments again. So here we have, this is the brass specimen, then we have aluminium, then we have copper, mild steel and cast iron. So these are the specimens on which the experiments are conducted. Now obviously, since the materials, or we are talking about metals, since they are hard, we do not have the same diameter of indentation. That is, suppose I use an indenter of 3.175 mm, and when I load using 150 kg on brass, it is not going to create an indentation whose diameter is again 3.175, because it is going to resist this force which is being applied. So the diameter of indentation generally will be less than that. So another experiment, you actually in your journal you will have to write them as two separate experiments. One is the Rockwell hardness test and the other one is the Brinell hardness test. But while conducting, we are going to conduct it in one go, in one stretch. So after we apply the load, the Rockwell hardness numbers, these values which have been obtained, they are going to be directly indicated on the dial. We will just measure it from the dial. So here you can see there are red dials and then there is a black dial and so on. I will show you the dials. But in order to calculate the Brinell hardness number, the procedure is slightly different. So what you need to do is, when you are writing Brinell hardness test journal, in a journal, you will remove this part, that is the Rockwell hardness, you will remove this part, and the last two columns will be these two. So it is diameter of indentation and Brinell hardness number. So this has to be calculated. That I have left it to you. You can calculate these values, but I have given you the diameter of indentation. So you can see, for example, for brass, the diameter of the indenter is 3.175, but the diameter of indentation is 1.2 millimeters. And once we know these values, we are going to use this formula in order to calculate the Brinell hardness number. The formula is 2p divided by pi d inside bracket d minus square root of d square minus d square. Now let's assume two different conditions. For example, if this were also 3.175, now what will happen in the formula? Here capital D is the ball diameter and small d is the diameter of indentation. Now if this also is 3.175, it obviously means both are the same, diameter of the ball and diameter of the indentation. So what happens in this case? This becomes 0, which means the Brinell hardness number becomes indeterminate. You cannot determine. Similarly, if the value of the diameter of indentation is 0, that means the material is extremely hard. It is not allowing any indentation to be formed. So what happens in this formula? This value will become 0. So it is going to be square root of d square, which is d. D minus d is again 0. So we get another factor where the denominator is 0, which is again indeterminate, that is the hardness number tends to infinity. So extremely hard materials, if we use, it can so happen that there will be hardly any diameter of indentation. So the actual methodology, the various steps, how we need to conduct the experiment, we will go to the setup and then I'll explain how the experiment needs to be conducted. So this is the experimental setup on which we are going to conduct the Rockwell hardness test, and later on, after we remove the specimen and measure the diameter of indentation, we will be finding out the Brinell hardness number. Now, in a hardness test, there are two loads that need to be applied. The loads which were mentioned as 150 kg, 60 kg and so on, they are called as the major loads. Now there is also a small load which needs to be applied, which is called as a minor load, and that minor load is normally 10 kgs. Now you may ask a question, why this minor load needs to be applied? That is because, see, there is a platform and this platform can be raised or lowered, and here we have mounted the indenter depending on the type of material. So presently we have kept a brass material, hence the diameter of the indenter is 3.175 mm, that is we have used 1/8 of an inch. Now once the indenter is mounted, this specimen I am going to raise this and make that specimen come in contact with the indenter. Now the surface may not be smooth, or there may be surface irregularities and so on. So just to ensure that there is a proper contact between the indenter and the specimen, we have to apply a minor load, and that minor load is normally 10 kgs. Once that is done, then we can apply the major load. But we need to understand how to apply 10 kgs exactly. So what we do is, see, you can see this is the dial. Okay, so I was mentioning about the red scale and the black scale. So the inner scale is the red scale and the outer scale is the black scale. There is another small dial here with a dot. So what we need to do is, when I raise this, see, I am raising this you see what will happen to the inner smaller scale. So once it touches, the needle will start moving in the anti-clockwise direction, and you need to stop once it touches the red dot. Okay, so you are not going to raise it further. That is the danger point. Red point is the danger point, and the longer pointer has now rested at a particular place. So this part we have already done. Now since we are using brass, there is also another column, that is the scale that needs to be used. So you can see here there is a chart which has been put, and on this chart various metals. Okay, so all the details are given here. For what type of material, how much load is to be applied, which dial you have to use, and what is the type of indenter that needs to be used. So we have chosen K scale. So here you can see that K stands for bearing materials. Normally brass is a bearing material, very soft or thin materials, and the load to be applied is 150 kgs. It is 1/8 ball indenter, and the scale to be read is a red scale. Okay, so whenever a material is given to us, once we know which material it is, we have to look at this chart and then decide how these parameters are to be adjusted. So after this is done, we have already applied a minor load of 10 kgs. Now the value of load also has to be changed. For example, for aluminium it is 60 kgs, and for mild steel it is 100 kgs. Now how to do that? Here you can see that there is a load selector. Now presently, since we are doing it on brass, it is 150 kg. Then I can change this. I can just turn this. If it comes to 100, then a load of 100 kgs will be applied by the indenter on the specimen. Similarly, I have 60 kgs, 250 kgs, 187.5 and so on. So I'll keep it at 150, and then now it is ready to apply the load. Now how to apply the load? There is a lever which is provided. Okay, so what I do is I am going to turn the lever on the other side, which will release the load inside. The mechanism is such that it will release the load inside and apply a load of 150 kg. I need to wait for about 5 seconds and turn the lever back again. Okay, so after I turn the lever back again, wait for another 2-3 seconds, and then wherever the pointer rests, that will be the value of the Rockwell hardness number. So let's see how to do it, and you can see how the pointer also moves once I apply the load. Now I am going to apply the load by turning the lever on the other side. So you can see that the dial is moving. I will stop for about 4-5 seconds and then take it back again to ensure that the entire load has been applied. I take it back. Now you can see that it has come and rested at a value, since we need to read the inner scale, that is the red scale, it has rested at a value of about 18. Okay, so there we had obtained values of 30, 20, 23 and so on. 18 is also in the same vicinity. Because we have now done it on a different at a different place, there will be minor variations. In fact, that is the reason why we have to take it at 3 different points and then take the average. So once the load is released and you get the reading, Rockwell hardness number, you are going to directly read it from the dial and write the value. Now how to find out the Brinell hardness number? What we need to do is we need to release the specimen, we need to take the specimen out, then mark that point on which the indentation has happened. Okay, so let's say this is the indentation. So mark that point, you can encircle it or you can just identify that point and then take it to a microscope. Here we have a microscope. So we will place the specimen under the microscope and then measure the diameter of indentation. So once we conduct the experiment, we can measure the diameter of indentation. The values have been given. Now using the formula, we can find out what is the Brinell hardness number. So once you find out the Brinell hardness number, you need to write them in the last column. So you are going to write two separate journals. The Rockwell hardness, all the values are given. That itself you can do it. And in your conclusion, you can say that based on the Rockwell hardness number value, once the value increases, then the hardness of the material also increases. and similarly on similar lines, find out the Brinell hardness number, write the values, and you can conclude. So those are the results, and in the results you will write the average values, whatever you have found out. So after conducting the experiments, the average Rockwell hardness number values of brass, aluminium, copper, mild steel, cast iron are those values respectively. Similarly for Brinell hardness number, and then you can write the conclusion for a Brinell hardness test also. Okay, so that is how the entire test is conducted. Please remember that one precaution that needs to be taken is when you are applying the minor load, that is 10 kgs, then when you are raising it against the indenter, when that small pointer starts moving in the anti-clockwise direction, when it comes and stops at the red dot, you have to stop. Don't raise it further, otherwise you will damage the equipment. So that means you have already applied the minor load of 10 kgs, and then the major load you can select from the load selector. Okay, so that is all about the Rockwell hardness test and Brinell hardness test. Thank you.